So this is a system that we use for temperature monitoring. I really like it just because of this graph feature. You can see right here, this is my circuit ID A5 ice cream. This is the specific section that I'm looking at, and then these are the dates to and from. So right now I'm looking from the 14th to the 16th. You can see that red is hot, not red is not hot, but you can see we're definitely having issues. So what I like to do is check to see if it's a case issue or a circuit issue. I'll graph all the tags in the circuit and see what kind of pattern I'm looking at, and you can see where they're all doing basically the same thing. So this to me would indicate a circuit issue, so I'm not even going to pay attention. So when I go to this right now, I'm not going to look at any specific case. I'm probably just going to go to the rack, make sure the rack's maintaining, make sure the rack's not low on gas, and then I'll go over and check this EPR to see what that EPR is holding. But like I said, super useful. I love looking at these graphs because you could tell a lot. Each one of these little dots is 30-minute increments. But yeah, so let's go up there and see what's going on. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got.
Okay, so we're looking out on the computer, A5, so we got rack A, which is our low temp rack. That whole circuit was struggling, so the first thing I want to do is come over, look at the rack, look at it on the controller. It looks like we're maintaining suction. We got set point 16, showing 1611. So maintaining suction, so not too worried about that. Next thing I want to do is come over, look at my sight glass, which that looks solid. I don't know if y'all can see, I don't know if y'all can tell in there, but that sight glass is solid. It's not bubbling or blasting or anything. So to me, next thing we're gonna check is this EPR, system 5. So what I like to do is check across EPR. I got a port here, and I got a port here. I'm gonna check across, and since this is my ice cream, I'm just gonna run it at rack pressure, so I shouldn't have any pressure differential across this. If I do, we have an issue. So let's go ahead and check that real quick. All right, so I'm just gonna take my low side gauge, make sure we're showing 0, which we are. Take this one off. And I know since my rack is running 16 pounds, that's about what I should see on this. Okay, we got that on there, and you can see right there, 21 pounds, right? So what I'm gonna check across here and make sure that this is the same, or make sure that this is showing 16 and not 21. Alright, that's showing 20. So this EPR is good, our transducer is not reading correctly. So I'm going to come over here to my transducer. I'm going to hook this up straight to my transducer. So I'm going to hook this up right here on my transducer. Kind of a pain in the ass to do this with one hand, but that's okay. Anything for the fans. All right, so right there we're showing 15 pounds. But over here, look, you can see right there, look at that. That ball valve's closed. I wonder if that's got something to do with that. I wonder why that ball valve, you can see that ball valve is at like 45. That one's at about 45 too. That's interesting. Okay, so let's do this. So we know our transducer is reading correctly on the controller, right? So we don't got to worry about this anymore. So we can take this one off. That damn cap fell. Along with my gauge. So let's put this on here. See, that's showing 20 pounds. So go ahead and get in this magnificent Vito bag. if you don't have a veto bag by now, what are you doing, right? And let's open this guy up. And now you can see, look at that, suction pressure drop. So I don't know how that happened. I've never seen one of these vibrate close, but maybe it vibrated close. These ball valves do kind of suck. So let's do this one too. They do seem kind of loose. This one, will straighten this one out. I'm gonna go through this rack and make sure all the ones that are open, are supposed to be open, are actually open. That's weird. I've never come across something like that before. But this is supermarket refrigeration. Who knows what happened? Alright, so now you can see I'm at about 17 right there on my gauge. So let's check across the other side of the EPR again. Come on, baby. Alright, we're about the same on the other side of this EPR. We're at about 18 pounds. So there might be a little bit of a drop across it, a 1 pound drop, but if that's the case, I'm not tripping. You can see this thing's all the way out. I just have this thing, oh, there you go. Now it's all the way out. I just have this thing floating off suction pressure. So yeah, you can see it's about 17, 18 right there. So this thing's holding, this thing's doing fine. I have a feeling, I don't have a feeling, the issue was that that ball valve was halfway closed. I don't know why that happened. Like I said, maybe it vibrated itself closed, but I've never seen that happen. So I want to come over here, just check my controller one more time. Okay, so we're right there. Yeah, we're running 17 pounds. That gauge was showing 17. So we're good. What's going on here? Oil failure. Turn that off. Oh, that's this one. So I got oil in my sight glass. That is tripped. What I'm gonna do is, before I start it up, I'm gonna grab my high side gauge and put it on that oil pump. So I want to see what that net oil pressure is. Alright, now we'll start it up. Probably got to get it to call on the controller. It's already calling on the controller. So, probably got a delay on it. I'm sure there's a time delay or something in there. I just want to wait for it to start up. You can see we're just waiting on a delay. If there was an issue like a safety trip, this red light would be on. So there must be like a time delay or something in there. So we're just waiting on this compressor to kick on real quick. All right, so this compressor just came on. This is a Super Plus rack. We were talking about this in the live stream last night where we have that. The only thing that kills me about these racks is that liquid header up here. I wish Hussman would have put that liquid header like right here, you know, just right behind that suction line instead of putting them up there where you gotta kind of fight for it. But we got this compressor on, so I want to check my net oil, which is showing 75 right there on my pump. We'll call it 15, so 75, that'd be 70, that'd be 60 pound net. So I'm gonna let this compressor run for a minute and see what it does. We might be pumping oil. Let's see, let's check our reservoir. My reservoir, I've got 1, 2 balls, and then this one, I don't know if you can see in that sight glass, this one's kind of bouncing around right there. Yeah, you can see it right there. It's bouncing around in that third sight glass. So I've got probably too much oil, but I've got more than enough oil in this thing. So I'm just checking to make sure this pipe is hot. This is after my oil differential valve, that pressure valve that creates that pressure drop. So that's hot. So that to me tells me that it's feeding, which means my filter's probably good. So I'm just gonna need to watch this thing and see what happens to that oil level. This compressor over here is off, so this one might be soaking up oil. This compressor right here is off. I'm not 100% sure why, but it might be soaking up oil from these other ones. And this one's actually, it's just off that the breaker's not off, it's just off at the rocker switch, so I wonder if somebody just turned that off and forgot to turn it back on. Let me see. Oh, but this one's also forced off on the controller. I wonder why. Let's see. I'm gonna turn it back on. Or I'm gonna take that manual override off. Because I think last time I was here, that compressor was on. Let me see. Enter 3. Yes, let's turn it on. Let's turn that compressor on, see what happens. So, it feels like it came on. Yeah, it's warming up. This one turned off. You can see my pump pressure went back down. So, and my oil level's way up in that sight glass. I'm not sure why that one tripped on oil. Maybe it's a pumper. Maybe it just pumps oil out. But yeah, this one's running now too. I wonder why somebody had that one turned off. Man, some of the things you find, you just never know. I got ball valves that are halfway closed. I got compressors that are toggled off. Maybe, I don't know if anybody was out here. I'll have to try to look at the history and see. But I'm gonna watch these two compressors and then see what goes on with them. All right, so I've had this compressor running for a little bit now. I'm still at 75 pound on my pump pressure, and I'm still at about 15 pounds over here. So I don't think it has anything to do with the compressor itself. My sight glass is still about 3/4 full. It might have had something to do with this compressor being off. Maybe it was just soaking up the oil. But other than that, I got to check that temperature system that we got to make sure. Let me see, that thing was at 15. Let me see what this is at. Okay, so I'm assuming we went into a defrost on this, because you can see my gauge is over 120. It's retarded right now. So I'll come over here. A5, of course, it's in a defrost. If there's one thing I've learned, anytime you're trying to check a system or do something to a system, boom, it goes into defrost. I swear to God, it's every single time. Doesn't matter what you're doing. So I'm gonna have to wait a little bit. I'm probably gonna go to lunch and then check the temps, but I have a feeling that's what our issue was. So I don't know why those ball valves, both of those two right there, were both halfway closed. I'm not sure why, but I'm gonna go to lunch, let this thing go through a defrost and let it pull back down, and then I'll jump on our temperature system and make sure that everything's good. Assuming everything is good, I'm gonna end this video here. Again, I appreciate everybody watching, appreciate everybody's support. Go ahead, throw a like, subscribe. You know the fucking deal. Everybody fucking tells you it enough, but biggest thing, share it with somebody that you think might need it. Somebody that might get entertainment, somebody that might need a little bit of training or need to learn something. Share it with those guys. I'm not claiming to be the best teacher, but I might be able to teach them a thing or two. So again, I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all have a good one. Later.